Welcome, everybody, to the Bison Video Blog, presented by Northwestern Mutual, North Dakota State, and Southern Illinois. Coming up this weekend at the Fargodome, the Salukis rising up in the rankings, up to number 7 in the latest FCS poll after their big win over Indiana State on Saturday. With Jeff Kolpack, I'm Dom Izzo. Bison still number 1 after a 33-16 win over Illinois State on Saturday, except for another dandy coming up here this coming weekend at the Dome.
Doesn't it seem like it's last week revisited again? I mean, it's a team from Illinois, and they're highly ranked in the top 10. They have a really good quarterback coming back. In fact, this guy, DJ Williams, we'll talk about him a little bit, is he's better than Tommy Rittenhouse, and came back from an injury from last year. These, his stats are out of sight. It's going to be, these are the number 6 and 7 offensive teams in the country as far as scoring average. NDSU's at 44.4 points a game, and the Salukis are at 44.3. I mean, it's these guys can put the ball in the end zone.
Let's talk about first the game on Saturday. Tim Polisic was stressing to me on Friday, visiting with him before the game, looking forward to a 4-quarter game. I don't know if we believed it simply because the bettors in Vegas didn't believe it. NDSU was installed as a 24.5-point favorite, but they finally got a 4-quarter game. So I'm interested what they take out of that to get ready for Southern Illinois.
Yeah, 18-16 lead heading into the fourth quarter, and Bison were the better team in the fourth. I felt like Tim Polisic after the game wanted to get right to the film. I mean, he had enough of it. Like, get these questions quick because I got to see the film. I think what he saw was he thinks teaching moments, and I'm curious to ask him about it tomorrow, teaching moments from that game. And just because you win doesn't mean that you can't really be critical of yourself. You know, you got to throw that out the window. You got to evaluate your performance on how it was. And I think Illinois State gave NDSU some things to think about.
Especially how they were able to be successful in the pass game, whereas it's something that, again, the secondary hasn't been necessarily tested on that. Running back, and that's something I'm interested to see what SIU brings to the table, and Winker's right for Illinois State, got a little bit of juice, but they cut that off in the second half. But it was the hits to Sobkowitz, who Illinois State's best player, was something that really gave the Bison fits early in the first 3 quarters of that game.
No surprise. I mean, Daniel Sobkowitz came in as a top 10 all-time receiver at Illinois State. And you're right. Citadel had nobody like that.
No.
Tennessee State had nobody like that. Southeast Missouri State had not really, nothing like that. So, yeah, they were tested for the first time by a really good receiver. And now here comes Vincent Davis coming in with 28 catches on the season. And so he'll be a test. Now, Sobkowitz was a tough matchup. He's 6'3". He's crafty. He's been around. He's a fifth-year guy. So, I mean, that was a good test for NDSU.
And the fact is they still made the defensive plays when they had to. We got to talk about what Nathaniel Staling has done. He's upset, I think, that he doesn't have 2 consecutive games with a touchdown because that fumble recovery, he stumbles there, or else that might be a scoop and score touchdown there. But Kelt McCaslin, I think, had his best game as a Bison at 4 tackles and that forced fumble on Saturday. Bison, those 2 guys, those are 2 juniors that are now making big-time plays.
And I think for the first time this season, we saw a team that had to make some sort of adjustments at halftime. And again, the head coach alluded to that they took those adjustments, they took whatever coaching was at halftime and applied it to the second half, and it looked evident that they did, especially in the fourth quarter. So I think that's a sign of a pretty mature team. I sense no panic. You're down 2-0 right away. When you couldn't start a game worse than that. You know, they downed it to the 1-yard line after driving for a while, talking about Illinois State. First play, Barika Penu gets tackled in the end zone. 2-0 right off the bat. And you think, oh, that's how upsets happen.
It was, but they didn't. I never got the sense, before we move on to SIU, Illinois State could stop the Bison. The Bison did not punt in that game Saturday. NDSU stopped itself, frankly. They downed it to end the half, and they downed it to end the game. They missed a field goal, and it was the safety. That was it on the game.
Let's not go any farther and not talk about Cole Payton, because I think he's probably been the best quarterback in FCS to this point. Again, there's some tough competition in
his own conference.
In his own conference right now. DJ Williams can make the case. He's right up there too. It's you look at the stats, but Cole Payton has brought this team on his back a little bit. There were times against Illinois State where it looked he was penned in. It looked like they had him. In talking to Illinois State linebacker Ty Niekamp after the game, he goes, he thought they had him too. There were times when he escaped, and he goes, he's fast. Not only fast, he's next level fast.
Yeah, that's the part. That's a great quote on that. All right, SIU here. Nick Hill is the now second oldest coach. It's crazy to say that in the Missouri Valley football, longest tenure, I guess, better way to say it, in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. The Salukis have had varying degrees of success, I'd say, over the last handful of years. They made the quarterfinals in the weird COVID year. They made the playoffs the year after that. They came to Fargo, actually, and lost a game. And then they bubbled down and they missed the playoffs. And now they're back on the upswing. They lost to Idaho a couple years ago in the second round. What do we make of this team that's coming to Fargo this year?
Well, we see a healthy quarterback coming back for one. There he is, DJ Williams, 88 for 131 on passing, 68%. But he's a dual threat. Look at that. He's 50 carries. He's the team's leading rusher. Dom, 7.7 yards per carry, 9 touchdowns on the ground. He's thrown for 11 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. This guy has got some stats, and he's elusive. We saw him at Murray State. He was elusive, and then he transferred to SIU.
He's also got an arm to him as well. You mentioned Vincent Davis. This was the big play that broke the game open against Indiana State on Saturday night. This is a guy, the Bison Davis there on the reception. They're going to need to know where he is.
85-yard touchdown. That'll catch the attention of anybody in the NDSU film room for sure. This guy, he's developed. I mean, he started his career at Charleston Southern, came to SIU, didn't really play a whole lot his first year or two, came on a little bit last year, and now he's really developed into a go-to guy.
You talk about there he is in terms of what Williams can do. Just elusive quarterbacks have been the bugaboo for the Bison defense going all the way back to 2011. That's something that clearly Grant Olson is going to be focused on here this entire week.
Well, we've always said that.
Yeah.
What beats the Bison at the Dome? It's a guy who can do both.
Yep.
You take Brian Shore from JMU, can do both.
Taryn Christian, South Dakota State, was great at that.
I go back to Matt Barr from Western Illinois when they upset
the
Bison in 2009 or 10. He could do both, and so that's what it takes. This is a chance for the Bison crowd to maybe make a difference.
Yep. I'm interested to see, like we talked about.
Yeah, are they going to fill?
Are they still into this? It was homecoming. It was a big crowd, and there was obviously revenge on the mind with South Dakota. SIU, you saw the graphic up there. They've never won up here. This has been almost a rubber stamp when they've played the Salukis. The Bison have won.
Really surprising that Southern Illinois, of all teams, hasn't won here because they've gone to FBS stadiums and won. Probably more than most in the league in the Valley. They've won at Purdue, in places like that. I think they won at Iowa State or
Northwestern.
Something.
They won too.
Yeah, so they've gone into some pretty big stadiums and loud stadiums and won games. Haven't done the trick yet here. Maybe this is their year. But okay, we were talking about the crowd, and we're sensing that it's trending up. We're sensing that as we see and what we hear and what we feel and the comments and all those. But now this will be a test.
This is a definite test. I would say the last four.
Because it's homecoming, you get people.
There's
opener, season opener, you get that.
With each of those games. The next four, the next three, there isn't. Southern Illinois, then Youngstown State at the end of the month, and then Northern Iowa. Those are not the heavy hitters like they were 10 to 15 years ago. That'd be, okay, that's a rubber stamp. There are people going to come to the game. That's not the case now.
Yeah, well, and the students, too. The students have been awfully good first two games. Now you're getting into the quarter or the semester, I'll date myself. Now you're getting into the semester a little bit. Well, they show up.
One other key to note in this game, SIU's defensive coordinator, Lee Prochinski, spent 2 years as a defensive quality control coach with the Bison. He knows NDSU well. I'm interested to see how that will affect what the Bison offense will try and do on Saturday.
Well, okay, yeah, he knows NDSU well, but so does everybody else. I mean, have the Bison really done much different in offense since Greg Bolt
Brock
came
Spack
in?
was telling us that. No,
they look the same.
I still think, though, offensively wise, and you mentioned this on Hot Mic on Monday, what they're doing to the pass game is not what Bison football was looking like even 5 years ago.
Yeah, and Tim, I think, mentioned that they've evolved their offense a little bit to include the passing game a little more. Number one passing team in the country, according to Pro Football Focus stats last week. They're probably near the top this week.
Bison fans rejoice. We have the game on Saturday. Bison Game Day is live at 10 a.m.
We're not yellow? Or we have a yellow tint to us?
We'll be normal color for the game on Saturday. Bison Game Day at 10 a.m. and then the football game at 2:30 between Southern Illinois and North Dakota State. We hit the air at 2:20 as the Salukis come calling to take on the Bison. Full coverage all week with Jeff at Inforum.com. We'll have stories all week on WDAY as well. For Jeff Kolpack, I'm Tom Izzo. That's this week's Bison Video Blog, presented by Northwestern Mutual.